Hey guys, hi. How you guys are doing? Is you guys are doing? Cause I am exhaustedly happy right now. Um, I'm just feeling really good. I just got back from the gym. I did 11.7 miles on the bike in about 61 minutes. That felt fantastic. Um, I'm still scared to do any weightlifting with just one hand. I know that, there's plenty of stuff I could do, but it feels like to me that I still want to use the other hand really badly. And I'm so scared that I'll just be like, oh, well, I could just pick this up on accident. Not really paying attention. When you go to pick up a barbell or you go to pick up a dumbbell, or not a barbell, but a dumbbell, or you go to pick up a kettlebell or something like that, you're not really thinking about it. And whichever hand, you just go reach down to grab it to put it up. I'm afraid that I won't be paying much attention and I'll go to grab it. Oh, excuse me. Double excuse me. I happen to be drinking out of one of my brand new cups that my friend Carrie bought me. I'm sorry. Do you see how beautiful this cup is? Do you see the magnificence of this cup? I love it. Oh, let's just use my cup in as much as I can because I have to show you how pretty it is. It's a 32 ounce. This is the second time I filled it since I got it this morning. I love rainbow stuff. I love cups. I love color. I love it. I love it. I love it. She said that she also bought me two more cups, so I'm like cups. I have I'm an obsession with cups. You guys already know that about me, but I'll drink out of the same cup forever, forever. So she bought me a couple of cups, and now that I'm sitting here and I've cleaned the kitchen and I've done 11 miles on the bike. Excuse me. I'm doing okay today. I'm doing okay. Yesterday I went to therapy. So let's talk about therapy a little bit. Excuse me. I also made protein chips, which pretty much is just pepperoni on a paper towel into the microwave until all the grease has been pulled out of them and they're crispy. And you can add some Parmesan cheese on top of that. So I just had maybe about 20 of those. And so now I'm drinking my water and just kind of chilling out. Um, so I went to therapy yesterday, and I'm liking my therapist a little bit more each time I go, but that's because I don't warm up to people very easily. Um, and so I don't know her super well yet. So that's where I'm kind of just taking my time. Um, she's not somebody I clicked with immediately. She's somebody who I know is vastly more intelligent than I am, and I value people's intelligence. So I know that even though I might not be on a oh my god, let's be besties friend level. Sorry, my friend sent me something. Um, that she can help me on a level to where a lot of my other doctors have not been able to, because we've become all of my other therapists, we've always had a very close relationship. So it was more like, how you doing when you go in, instead of let's get down to the root of your actual problems. So we talked about Vraylar, and I've mentioned it quite a few times in here, how I feel about it. Um, I do notice that my emotions are dialed down a lot. But I don't know if that's mostly just from the Vraylar, or if it could be also from the vast amount of anxiety medication that I take in order to keep me from flying off the handle or having massive panic attacks like I used to. So I think it's time that we're gonna have to start tweaking my original meds to kind of see where I'm at. Sorry, I'm gonna do that throughout the whole thing. I apologize though. Double, triple, and quadruple. Excuse me. but I wanted to say that I'm not unhappy, but I'm not happy. Like there's nothing like detrimentally wrong. Like I'm not in a crisis mode. But I find it much harder to become like super over joyful. Like I don't really get super manicky anymore. Not that that's a bad thing. Hypomania can be a problem in some with some people, and even though that's where I was my happiest, of course that's where I was my happiest because it's called mania for a reason. Um, Not having that to look forward to is very hard for me. Like it's very, very hard for me to know that I'm probably not going to get back to that. Vraylar is actually a medication that is made for bipolar 1 for people who have mania. And so it kind of stops you from getting that overly high. Um, so I don't know how I feel about not being able to get into that mode because I'm not used to that. So this is more of a comfort level, like something I've never had before, something I'm not used to, is being more on an even keel, um, more neutral than being way up or just really way down. And as a lot of you know, like my depression is what's prevalent with my bipolar 2, which is what a lot of people who have bipolar 2 have, is mostly depression. And but again, I don't really have that either. So it's kind of a very gray area for me where I'm like, well, I'm not depressed, but I'm not happy. And so, I've kind of like talked to people and I've kind of like, kind of pushed and wondered, well, maybe this is what normal people feel like. And when I say normal people, I don't mean like everybody's normal. There is no such thing as normal. We don't have to go through that conversation because that's boring. What I mean is average people who aren't mentally like chemically imbalanced. I'm not saying who aren't mentally struggling. I'm saying people who don't have a chemical imbalance. Maybe this is more like what my life is supposed to kind of be like, which is something I've never had because I've always had a chemical imbalance in my brain. So we talked a lot about that. So I would love to know what you guys think. Do you have a middle ground where it's not miserable, it's not miserable, it's not happy, it's not unhappy, it's not a crisis, but it's not a not crisis, it's just gray. There's that gray area that I've never had before. I told you I've always been a 10 out of 10. Either I was really, really up and having the best time of my life, or I was really, really down and considering horrible things. Um, I get small peaks of that right now. Like my depression will come, but it'll kind of dip into it for like, a couple of hours to a day or two instead of like weeks. Or I'll get really super excited and happy, but that only lasts like maybe an hour if I'm lucky. So I think I'm just trying to figure things out as they come, and I want to make sure that, you know, my medicine is where it's supposed to be. Like I want to make sure that I'm not taking an exorbitant amount if I don't have to. I mean, if this new medication will replace some of the stuff that I'm already taking, then I think it's time to kind of tweak that down, because if it's already doing its job and I'm taking all this other stuff that was supposed to be doing what it's doing, then I'm taking stuff needlessly. So I'm not stopping anything. I'm under a doctor's care. I actually see him on the 10th. So I think we're going to discuss about, like, taking me off 10 more milligrams of the Buspar, which is an anxiety medication, which right now I'm taking 100 milligrams. That would mean that I'd go down to 80. And then we'd whittle me down from there to see, well, how do you feel now a month later? So a month later from there, I'd be like, well, either it feels really good or I don't like it or I'm miserable. I'm not willing to change my medication drastically. I'm not willing to get off more than one medication at a time. And for me, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'll take down 10 one week, and then the next week I'll take down another 10, and the next week. No, I'm not like that. I can't tell you a difference unless it's been a couple of weeks. So it takes me at least a month, sometimes longer, before I'm like, you know what, I want to add that back, or you know what, it was fine me going off that. I think I could go off a little bit more. I take just a little more time because I know like what going cold turkey on stuff does to me. So I'm not really that interested in going cold turkey. I don't think it's good for you. I don't, especially when you're playing with chemicals in your brain, it's really not good for you to just fuck around with your medication like that. So, also something I wanted to kind of talk about is not, a lot of people throw around the fact that you know, there is something called borderline personality disorder, BPD. It's very closely related to bipolarism, and before, if I'm telling you, I'm gonna boop somebody's snoot if they tell me bipolarism isn't a word. I don't care. It is now. But there's something called borderline personality disorder, which is very close without the chemical imbalance. So a lot of people who are borderline personality disorder don't have the I'm not going to say it's not as bad as bipolar. I'm sure it is just as bad as bipolar. I have no idea because I don't have it. You can't have both. Like that's just not how it works. Like you can't have both. You can't have bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. Like you either have one or the other. Like there's a lot of stuff that you can't have because it falls into the same categories. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like telling you that I have, you know, oh God, how's a good analogy for me to put it? I'm trying to think of a good analogy to put it where, because you have to walk on eggshells on the internet because people get a fucking people get butt hurt really easily when you talk about mental illness or anything. People get butt hurt really quickly. So I have to explain things in a kind of different sort of way in order for people to understand me. Number one, because of the way my brain works, and number two, because I don't actually want to offend anybody. I'm just telling you the way I know things as who I am, and I'm an expert on the things that I know about because I feel like I'm an expert in my own head. So when I tell you, you know, that you can't have this, you can't have that, I'm not a medical professional. Like, if you want to say that you have bipolar 1 and bipolar 2, like, that's up to you, boo-boo. Like, if you want to say that you don't have this or you have that or you don't have this, like, I can't tell you what you have. I can only tell you what I have. Like, and I can only tell you what I've been told by my own medical professionals. So don't take what I say as law. It is definitely not. Like, you know, whatever your doctors come up with, whatever you think on your own, whatever makes you feel better at the end of the day, please don't come at me with, well, I have this and I have that, and how dare you. I can only tell you what works for me. I can only tell you what doesn't work for me. I can only tell you what my opinions are because this is my channel. And this is where my opinions go because that's what my name up there is on the channel for, is that I have an opinion. These are just like everybody else's opinions. Like, you can kind of like them or you can't. Like, and I almost choked on that. But as far as what I was saying, which I now squirreled upon because now I had to sit and try to explain things so people don't get their panties in a wad and start, like, you know, throwing stuff. You can't tell me what I have. I'm not telling you shit. I'm just telling you what I don't have, which is I don't have BPD. I have bipolar 2. But they're so closely related in some of the symptoms that a lot of people will be put on medication, or a lot of people will not be put on medication because they don't know whether they have one or the other. So it's really hard to get a proper diagnosis, med- especially with mental disorders, because you're pretty much just telling a doctor what you feel like your symptoms are, whether your symptoms are that or not. It's all relative to how you feel. And I think it's so strange to me that, excuse me, people get thrown on, including myself, on all these huge amounts of medication when there's no real way to prove what you have. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I could go into a doctor and I could tell them, well, I suffer from massive migraines, and they make me dizzy and they make me throw up, and like, I have light sensitivity and I have hearing sensitivity, and they can give me medication for migraines, excuse me, and have never given me a test. So I could pretty much just tell them, well, I have panic attacks even if I've never had one. Or I have anxiety, and I can't go into certain places, and I can't talk to people, and I can't leave my house. And they're going to say, well, it sounds like you have social anxiety and agoraphobia. So, like, it's weird to me to see how easily people can get misdiagnosed, because that scares me on my own behalf, to be honest with you. Like, I spend a lot of time doing research on the stuff that I'm taking, which is the medication. I also spend a lot of time on my diagnoses, question mark, because I don't want to be labeled if I don't have something. So I'm constantly questioning my own feelings, and I'm constantly questioning, what I'm on and why I'm on it, and could it be this, could it be that. It's actually more of a head trip for me to try to figure out what the fuck's wrong with me than it is, just leaving things alone and letting the doctors figure it out. But I only see these doctors. Okay, so I only see my psychiatrist maybe once or twice every other month, right? Like once every 2 months I see this person. And when I see this person, I talk to him for like 15, 20 minutes usually, And so I'm telling them, okay, well, this month, I feel more depressed, or I feel more anxiety, or I feel less depressed, or I feel less anxiety, or, this medicine makes me feel this way, or I think this medicine is making me feel that way, or I think that I don't get enough time. I think that I don't get enough information to them to give them enough to evaluate me properly. So I am very tentative on, do I truly have this? Do I truly have that? And then I sit back and I'll do research on it. And the reason I'm telling you guys this is because it is super important to be 100% honest with your doctors about how you feel, because you have to be your own advocate. And I don't think anybody wants to be on a medication they don't need to be on. And I don't think anybody wants to have the side effects of a medication they don't actually need to be on. Just like I have taken myself off stuff in the past, like I've been on Risperidone, and I've been on Geodon, Trileptal, Effexor. I've been on all kinds of stuff, and like, them telling me that I need them, and then figuring out on my own, I'm like, no, I don't need this. This is too much. Or no, it doesn't work that way for me. Or no, I'm more like a zombie on this type of thing. So I hope my thoughts came out a little different than I'm hoping, because what I'm really trying to get at is that I'm hoping that everybody is more of their own researcher. Is you just don't take what somebody says for granted. Like, you just don't take what somebody says you have and just run with it. Like, that you really feel like this is exactly what I have. That you're happy with your diagnosis. That you're happy with them putting that on paper. Like, I'm just like fibromyalgia. Like, my mother has it. I have plenty of my aunts and, other people in my family who have it, but it took until now for me to allow them to even start throwing that out there. It's been years and they've wanted to put that down on my paper, but I'm like, I'm not sure if I have that or not. I'm not 100% sold on whether or not I have this. And until I feel like this is exactly what I've got, you're not putting that on my paper. You're not giving me medication and stuff to treat something that I'm not sure I have. So that's kind of how I work. So anyway, I hope this video finds you well. I hope that if nobody has told you today that you are loved, you let me be the first person to do it. You are loved. You are kind, you're compassionate, and you're amazing. I feel that way. I know that you're kind, I know that you're compassionate, and I know that you're amazing because you're here. I appreciate everybody who's shown up today to watch my video. You don't know how much I appreciate your time, just taking time out of your day to sit and talk to me for a little while. I hope I didn't offend anybody. I hope you understand what I was trying to get at. If nobody told you today that you are worthy, that you are enough, and that you are needed, please allow me to be the person to tell you that today. You are enough. You are worthy. And you are definitely needed here on my channel. Right here in my groups, on my Facebook and my Instagram. I care about you guys so much. And I hope that if you don't know that you would be missed here on the earth, that you know for a fact that I would miss you here, and that there's somebody who's waiting for you every time I make a video. That I would be so sad if I found out something happened to somebody. So just know that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to be on medication. It's okay to have mental illness and still be, how can I put it? It's okay to admit that you have mental illnesses. This is what I should say. It's okay to say that you have disabilities, and nobody should make you feel less than, because you're still an amazing person, and no matter what your problems may be, I accept you here. So I love your beautiful, gorgeous, amazing faces. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, no matter where the hell you happen to be in the world, and I will talk to you very, very, very soon. Mwah. Bye.